Hello and welcome. My name is Roxanne Young-Kimball. I'm the supervisor of our Minneapolis Homes program. And today I'm going to give an overview of some changes that we're recommending to our home improvement programs. First, I'm going to start off by just giving an overview of our housing division. Our products tie to Minneapolis 2040 goals to eliminate disparities, grow our city equitably, provide affordable and accessible housing throughout the city, and achieve climate resilience. Conversations in Minneapolis about housing policy have evolved. Common themes from some of our recent policies are that unjust policies led to racial and other disparities of today, that we need to serve households with the highest disparities, eliminate barriers that prevent access to wealth building opportunities by low wealth households, disrupt displacement trends, and stabilize households in their homes. These conversations have led the city to engage in a deep dive to look at process and system improvements for our home improvement programs in order to better align with these city policy goals. Our Housing Policy and Development Department has a variety of strategies that seek to respond to the council policy and community conversations we've heard. The most relevant strategies that are part of our home improvement work are highlighted. To learn more about our work and view our progress to date on each of these strategies, visit the link that's at the bottom of this slide. We started an engagement process with the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development Consultant Group, Corporate Backs, and went through a series of virtual workshops to discuss our procedures and learn from best practices in other cities, as well as participated in a cohort with the Local Initiative Support Corporation, Minnesota Housing, and other home improvement lenders to learn strategies to work together regionally. As we met, we sought to keep the following process improvement goals in mind. We wanted to try to make sure that our program procedures are clear to the staff and public, that households that work with us have a positive customer service experience, that low wealth households can preserve housing stability. We wanted to align our programs with Minneapolis city policies. And we also wanted to ensure that households with the most barriers to access are centered in our marketing and outreach efforts. Currently, we have 5 different home improvement products. 4 of the 5 products are offered through Minnesota Housing Funding. The remaining are offered through Community Development Block Grant, which is a federal funding source, and local city funds. Note that the cap on most of our programs is a range between $25,000 to $30,000. That's enough to do 1 or 2 major things in a house, like replace a furnace or a roof, but it's not enough to address all of the health and safety concerns, especially when there are requirements to mitigate lead hazards, which there are in most of our programs. Lead hazards are due to lead-based paint being used on homes that were constructed prior to 1978. Minnesota housing products focus on households below 30% of area median income and above 80% of area median income, and city funds are a bridge that serves the middle income and are often layered with Minnesota housing products. What does AMI mean? HUD publishes area median income amounts annually. Effectively, median income is adjusted for household size. In Minneapolis, 2/3 of homeowners are 1 to 2 person households, and the remaining third are 3 person or more households. The 5 products we offer are currently siloed. That means they have different forms, different applications, and different procedures. This means that if someone applies through one product pathway, if there isn't enough money to serve them or they don't qualify for that product, they go back to the beginning of our process and start over. It also means that there's paperwork redundancy for staff and clients that are seeking to apply. Currently, there are 155 different forms used by our staff, which makes administration really cumbersome. We looked at the service rate for city-offered loans over the last 10 years. Loans are offered citywide and are most concentrated in North and South Central Minneapolis, the same areas that were most affected by redlining and the foreclosure crisis that limited investment and maintenance opportunities. Currently, the program averages about 25 loans closed annually. Our current products do a good job of serving low-wealth households. The average household income of homeowners over the past 10 years is $39,000 or below 50% AMI, and we have a strong rate of service to Black and white households. We need to do better reaching Hispanic, Asian, and Indigenous households, which is one of our objectives through our process improvement recommendations. Homeownership disparities are due to centuries of public policy in our country that have excluded Black, Indigenous, people of color, or BIPOC communities from access to wealth. Slavery, colonialism, redlining, racial covenants, and most recently predatory lending are just some of the examples of policies that stripped wealth from and denied access to generations of BIPOC community members. Investing in home repair is an essential strategy for preserving homeownership for low-wealth households, and particularly important in communities most at risk of displacement. Currently, there are 84,000 owner-occupied housing units in Minneapolis. Just 13,500 are owned by BIPOC households. They are geographically concentrated in the purple shaded areas on this map. To preserve the homeownership options for low wealth and for the BIPOC homeowners we need to ensure we have products that are available to address maintenance needs of homes. A third of Black and Latinx homeowners, regardless of income, are cost burdened, meaning that more than a third of their household income goes towards housing payments, and a majority of all homeowners below 50% of area median income are cost burdened. Having access to products without monthly payments to finance critical home repairs can mean the difference between living in a healthy and safe home for cost-burdened households. However, not all low-wealth households are cost-burdened. Some households may desire to make improvements to their home, such as finishing a basement or building an accessory dwelling unit to accommodate a growing family, or adding sustainable features to lower their energy costs, even if it means making a monthly payment on a loan for the improvement. This map reflects the City Assessor's Housing Conditions Survey for owner-occupied homes as of 2020. Note that the areas in red on this map closely correspond with the geographic areas where BIPOC homeowners are also the most concentrated. Importantly, these geographic areas are also where redlining and the foreclosure crisis were most concentrated, and where the Center for Urban and Regional Affairs has identified the highest geographic risks for displacement. We have 5 key process recommendations to simplify our process by streamlining our application forms, procedures, and policies so that all of our home improvement products have a common procedure, to better utilize technology such as Encompass and Salesforce to track our applications. These first 2 recommendations our staff are currently working towards implementing. We want to leverage our city resources as a complement to state programs, expand our capacity in order to provide construction management services and also to work with new general contractors as we do this work. And finally, we want to better reach households through neighborhood-based and culturally competent intake centers. A key component of the process changes that we want to make are to make our revised process concurrent in order to save time. Previously, Homeowner would have to apply through our application process, get all the way through underwriting, and then there would be a scope and bidding process, and then we would be able to close on their loan. Under our revised process, we're trying to do our underwriting process and our scope and bidding process concurrently and have a diversity of options that a homeowner can select at the end of the process when they're clear about how much the work that they're seeking to do on their home is going to cost. Once the capacity is there through the intake centers and the construction management work, we want to focus our marketing within the preference policy neighborhoods that were established by council, which coincide with where BIPOC homeowners and homes most in need of repair are geographically concentrated. Building this change is going to take some time. We're fundamentally shifting how we do our work, and we're using different tools. The hope is to fully build out the home improvement system by the end of 2022. During the course of us building out this new system, we are continuing to take new home improvement applications. Currently, we're asking for feedback about the direction we're headed through a series of community conversations. We particularly want to hear feedback about our recommendations for funding changes, which we'll go through in the next section. We're intending to host a series of community engagement meetings. The organizations listed here are our partners in home improvement lending and homebuyer education, and are the most likely partners as intake centers. In addition to engagement with intake centers, we're also seeking to engage other city departments, the funders that can collaborate with us in this work, and members of the general public. Now we'll walk through the recommendations to better align our funding. We propose eliminating the interest rate subsidy investment for homeowners between 81 to 115% of area median income, and focusing instead on homeowners below 80% of area median income, which we'll discuss further on the next slide. Minneapolis currently caps its fix-up fund loans at $30,000. We propose eliminating the cap to allow for lending up to the program maximum of $75,000. This flexibility is something we'll touch on again in the next slide also. For homeowners that are below 80% AMI, we want to seek an increase that's consistent with the maximum in the Community Development Block Grant Program for lead interim controls. Effectively, because we're using a federal funding source, if we spend more than $25,000 on non-lead related repairs, then we're required to do lead abatement on a project, which can significantly increase the project's cost for homeowners. And so that's why throughout this slide, you'll see that $25,000 is the maximum amount of investment that we're doing for non-lead related work. For emergency loans, we want to increase our maximum from $15,000 up to $25,000. Second, we want to continue offering our current product, which is a deferred 0% health and safety loan. That has no monthly payments and that can be used to address health and safety items in a house. The third component of what we want to do is make it possible for someone to have the option to leverage the $25,000 that we're able to invest with Community Development Block Grant dollars as a grant with the Minnesota Housing Fix-Up Fund loan. Effectively, this option is a brand new option, and it makes it so that every dollar of CDBG funds we invest is leveraged with $3 from Minnesota Housing's Fix-Up Fund program. Effectively, by having a leverage option, we're able to make much deeper investments in homes, and we're able to do it by making it so that the interest rate for that investment is 0%. Homeowners make a monthly payment to pay off the loan over a 20-year term. There's a couple of examples that are at the bottom of this slide. In the first example, someone gets a loan for $25,000. The city CDBG investment is around $7,000, and it's leveraged with $17,000 of fix-up fund or Minnesota Housing State fix-up fund loan principal. The homeowner makes a monthly payment of $100, and after 20 years, that $25,000 loan is paid off. In the second example, the second example is of a loan amount of $75,000, which is significantly higher than the $25,000 that we typically allow through our programs, and maybe something that a homeowner that's below 80% of area median income desires because they're trying to add additional square footage to their home, or trying to make some other major improvement that they're choosing for their home. In this example, CDBG interest rate write-down is $23,000, and it's matched with roughly $50,000 of Minnesota Housing Fix-Up Fund principal. And the homeowner would be making a monthly payment of $300 in this case over a 20-year period. We also wanted to create an option to more swiftly provide homeowners with their loans. CDBG and Minnesota Housing's Rehabilitation Loan Program both come with requirements to test for lead hazards like peeling paint in a home, and to stabilize the paint as part of the scope of work. Paint testing adds time to the loan process, typically at least 30 to 60 days, just for the test to be done, the results to come back, and then for the results to be incorporated into the scope of work in the bid. We recommend clarifying circumstances when we can simply assume lead paint is present and proceed with work for a home. For example, if a homeowner wants a roof replacement or a furnace replacement and little to no paint is affected, we could simply assume painted surfaces are lead and proceed with the bid and scope. In all other cases, we would bring in a third-party certified paint tester to assess lead hazards that are part of the scope of work or present in the home. In many cases, stabilization simply means safely repainting the surface. But in cases like doors or windows that have a high friction surface, replacement is the best option. Our program currently provides a $25,000 loan that we talked about on the previous slide, and a $10,000 lead grant for total funding of $35,000. The average lead grant need in the past 10 years has been about $8,000. However, there are cases where there is a large amount of lead hazard in a home. In one example recently, a homeowner applied to our program to make her bathroom accessible so that she had the option to age in place in her home. When the lead risk assessment came back, the cost was almost $30,000 just to address lead hazards, leaving just $5,000 to complete the accessibility improvements she wanted for her home. Our staff was able to work creatively to solve this homeowner's issue. However, it was at the expense of other homeowners that were waiting for service in our queue. By eliminating the lead grant cap, we would be able to more quickly and swiftly address homeowner needs. This slide shows how our program summary would change if all of the recommended changes are implemented. Our goals for these changes are to better serve our customers by providing options for deeper investments, and to right-size our lead mitigation strategy. If it's not needed, don't do it, and if it is needed, then address it fully. We're also trying to better leverage our city resources with state funds from Minnesota Housing. This gives us the potential to serve more households with the same city funding, while also leveraging the administrative revenue we need to support our increases in capacity through intake centers. A table at the bottom of this slide shows what the full options are through our different program pathways. There's an additional option that we're financing through one of our other funding programs called the Minneapolis Homes Financing Program. For homeowners that need a deferred loan or grant investment that's above the maximums of $52,000 for a household below 30% AMI, or $25,000 for a household that's between 31 and 80% AMI. For households that need more investment than that and can't afford a monthly payment, we also are providing support to City of Lakes Community Land Trust, so that there's an option for doing more significant repair in exchange for enrolling in a perpetually affordable housing model. And that concludes our presentation. Please take a few minutes to complete our survey that's posted on our website. The link is on this page. It only takes about 5 minutes to complete. We're asking for feedback through the month of August, and we're hoping to make recommendations to the City Council in the fall of 2021. So your feedback is critical to our success. Thank you very much for your time.